Greetings, historians, and welcome back to House of Ideas Historian. Last week, I went over my top 5 favorite villains. So, if you haven't taken a look at that yet, be sure to watch that. I went through my comments, and it looks like you want to see my top 5 favorite Marvel events. So, without further ado, here we go. My top 5 favorite Marvel events. Who will defend the Earth while the Avengers are away? Earth's mightiest heroes are light years away, but Thanos is here now. Who will stop him? The Infinity crossover ran from August of 2013 through November of the same year. This massive event was written by Jonathan Hickman, one of my favorite authors. The main players being that of the Avengers and the Illuminati, both of which are key players in 2 books that he had written at the same time. So, building up to this event was amazing. This event took place in 2 separate locations. On one hand, we had the Avengers leading an intergalactic strike force against the Builders, who sought to destroy Earth and much more of the galaxy along with it. On the other hand, we saw Thanos attacking Earth, while most of the usual defenders are off-world. Everything came to a head when Thanos was captured, and then the Terrigen crystals turned into a mist that now roams the Earth, leading to a lot of changes, the Inhumans now being a larger presence in the universe. This mist led to things such as the Inhumanity, Inhuman vs. X-Men, and Civil War II. In the end, I like this one a lot, simply because of the build-up. 2 lines building up and meeting into one spot. It was quite an enjoyable read. I have always loved Hickman's work. As a fan of the 2012 Avengers, this was a very exciting read. Who can you trust? This one was fun. Imagine, just for a minute if you will, you find out that a shape-shifting alien race has infiltrated Earth. You have no idea who is who, and you have no idea who you can trust. This was the exact situation Earth was thrown into in June of 2008 through January of 2009. During the events of the Secret Invasion, shape-shifting Skrulls took the form of untold numbers of individuals around the world. Friendships lost. Old allies no longer knowing if they can trust each other. The whole while, the reader was trying to discern if Tony Stark was a Skrull or not. The whole while, Tony did not know if he was a Skrull himself. This event ended with a bang. Janet Van Dyne, a founding Avenger, dead. The whole world watching and sees Norman Osborn, the former Green Goblin, the current leader of the Thunderbolts, take the final shot that fells the Queen Skrull. I loved this event all the way through. The event leads right into one of my favorite eras of Marvel, the Dark Reign. I think we can all agree that Thor is godly when it comes to power level. Now imagine what it would be like to fight 8 supervillains with the power equivalent to Thor wielding hammers akin to Mjolnir. Welcome to Fear itself. This event ran from April of 2011 to October of the same year. The main series written by Matt Fraction, and the prologue written by that of Ed Brubaker. 2 talented men and icons of the industry. For those who do not know the events of Fear itself, we get Asgardian up in here. The Asgardian serpent god of fear rises up and tries to destroy the world, coming very close to doing so, gifting hammers of immense power to 8 villains to spread his gospel of fear. The worthy. The more fear that is spread, the stronger he gets. In the climactic finale, we see a fully powered serpent battle Thor, the god of thunder, wielding the Odin sword, a blade reserved for one thing and one thing only: Ragnarok. The worthy are defeated by a group of Avengers that were wielding Uru-powered weapons, gifted and designed by none other than Tony Stark. The mighty. There sadly was very little longevity to this event, though. The biggest consequence after the conclusion of the event was that of Thor's death, but that death didn't even last that long, so it hardly felt impactful. Honestly, the biggest reason that this event is in my top 3 is on cool factor alone. Disaster strikes in Stamford, Connecticut. The well-meaning but underprepared new warriors try to get famous by taking down known supervillains on camera. Unprepared for what comes next, the new warriors watch helplessly as Nitro explodes, killing 612 civilians, including children at a nearby school. The long-talked-about Superhero Registration Act was voted into law the very next day, and with it, Civil War. The events of the Civil War lasted from July of 2006 to January of 2007. Written by Mark Miller, the creative genius behind the Ultimates, Ultimate X-Men, and Ultimate Fantastic Four. The duality of the Civil War's warring ideologies is what makes this comic one of the best in all of Marvel. It is so easy to find yourself on either side of the line. Let's review. The warring factions come to head against one concept: the Superhero Registration Act. Tony Stark stands with the law, believing that well-trained and regulated superhero force will lead to less civilian loss of life. Steve Rogers sees it differently. He believes that if we ask heroes to register, we are forfeiting our civil liberties to fight injustice on our own terms. I don't want to go into detail and ruin the read for you, but suffice it to say, this was one wild ride. This lands with high marks for me for many reasons, but a huge one is the build-up. We can trace the first stirrings of the Superhero Registration Act all the way back in the early 90s. Even further if we look at mutant registrations. The legacy of this event was pretty big too. Steve Rogers in cuffs and then assassinated. The creation of the 50 States Initiative, and Tony Stark being promoted as Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So the question remains, whose side are you on? Choosing the best event is not an easy task. With so much out there and so much to consider, whittling down to only 5 is difficult enough, let alone figuring out what is the best. But in a sea of great events, there is one that stands out. One event that changed the landscape of the Marvel Universe forever. One event that stands above the rest. So, I present my number 1 pick. This massive event was a game changer. Running from May of 2015 to January of 2016, this event was nothing short of a masterpiece. Jonathan Hickman at his best. This event was not only the capstone for 3 years and 3 lines of Hickman's work, but it was the capstone for 15 years of the Marvel's Ultimate Universe. There's no way I can tell you about everything leading up to this event. But let me leave you with this. Everything dies. In this case, I mean everything, because the multiverse is dying. The omnipotent Beyonders set out to destroy everything. There is one man who stood in the face of this destruction. One man who looked at the face of literal gods and told them no. Was it Captain America? No. Was it Iron Man or Spider-Man? Neither. Maybe it was Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four? Wrong again. Victor Von Doom. Yes, Dr. Doom himself is the savior of the whole multiverse. Doom wasn't able to stop the last 2 Earths from colliding, but instead, he was salvaging pieces from every broken reality and forming them into one last glimmering spot of hope in all of reality. Battleworld. I will not go into the details of this work of art because I want you to read it. Suffice it to say, this is some of the best comic books I have ever read. 3 years and 3 lines leading up to this moment was well worth it. Bravo, Hickman. And all hail God King Doom. And that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for watching. What'd you guys think? Did I get the order right? Did I forget something? Is there an event that I didn't give enough credence to? Let me know in the comments below. In fact, let me know what your favorite events are. As always, guys, I love doing this. So let me know how I'm doing. Hit me up in the comments below. There's always Facebook or Instagram as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you have not already for all future content, and share with your friends. Excelsior, true believers. Till next time.